And I'm going to start with you, Dr. Patel, because it seems like this briefing will forever be remembered as the one where Tony Fauci got his groove back. Talk about Tony Fauci unleashed.
Yeah, absolutely, Nicole. Good to be with you. And it was, certainly we saw a very different Fauci commenting on how it's okay to say he doesn't know and taking some subtle or not so subtle jabs. But I think he really did have, I think, his best moment in that you could tell he was able to say anything he needed to, had not had to pre-rehearse that, and candidly, let the reporters kind of pummel him with what are really technically difficult questions to answer, but only Dr. Fauci can do that. Only he can explain cushion effect of immunity and vaccines. And so it was incredible. I think what was also noteworthy is Jen Psaki's tone around getting back to people, being pretty respectful in just a very different way, but also being clear about how hard this job is going to be ahead of them. And I think Dr. Fauci did the same.
I want to play some of Dr. Fauci. I had the same thought, though, that you couldn't fathom Dr. Fauci under the previous administration being so technical and taking his time detailing how difficult and how challenging and how long some of these things were going to take. Let me play some, though. I'll talk about it on the other side.
You've joked a couple times today already about the difference that you feel in being kind of the spokesperson for this issue in this administration versus the previous one. Can you talk a little bit about how much different do you feel, less constrained? What is the, you for so many times you stood up behind the podium with Donald Trump standing behind you. That was a different feeling, I'm sure, than it is today. Can you talk a little bit about how you feel kind of released from what you had been doing for the last year?
Yeah, but you said I was joking about it. I was very serious about it. I wasn't joking. No, actually, I mean, obviously, I don't want to be going back over history, but it was very clear that there were things that were said, be it regarding things like hydroxychloroquine and other things like that, that really was uncomfortable because they were not based on scientific fact. I can tell you, I take no pleasure at all in being in a situation of contradicting the president. So it was really something that you didn't feel that you could actually say something and there wouldn't be any repercussions about it. The idea that you can get up here and talk about what you know, what the evidence, what the science is, and know that's it. Let the science speak. It is somewhat of a liberating feeling.
Dr. Patel, it'll take a while, I think, for us to process what was just said, which was basically that really one of the world's top experts in infectious diseases did not feel at liberty to speak his mind until today's briefing. Talk about how the public will now benefit from faster access to the latest and most blunt assessments from our top scientists in Tony Fauci.
Yeah, I think the most important consequence is that the American public is going to hear the truth and a consistent message, because this is not limited to today. I'm confident you're going to see not just Dr. Fauci, but Dr. Walensky, so many others with incredible credentials bringing the latest science and trying to break it down and explain it to you. So I do hope it translates into people understanding why this year is going to be a difficult year with people getting vaccines, yet continuing to have to wear masks until we know what's happening, and also not having access to a vaccine for children. Lots of questions that people are asking and have never had a clear, consistent message around. And I think you're also going to see, you saw it with President Biden already. He has made it clear this needs to get done. And Dr. Fauci is one of many members of a team who President Biden expects to get the job done. But what a difference this makes, because now it's not people like me who have to try to translate this and tell people, well, this is the truth and this is not the truth. We actually have someone at the podium and supported by the press secretary and not necessarily, diminished by the president or anybody in that office.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.